Greetings, flesh creatures. It is I, Megatron. On behalf of TFYLP, I want to congratulate you for listening to the most refined collected podcast on this miserable little planet Earth. Yes. Here you'll find knowledgeable fans discussing every aspect of Transformers and beyond. Now, enjoy the show while I continue my path to complete conquest of all of you miserable biological entities. Predacons!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to TFYLP, part of the TF Talk Network. Today, we're going to be talking about the recent Wonderfest reveals over in Japan somewhere. It's a lot of Takara Tomy stuff that's coming out. Giving Lucas a break tonight, so even though he's with us, I'm going to be hosting tonight. We had a cast member who couldn't make it.
Big break here.
So Lucas had to sub in for us. But I'll be hosting for Janae, Rob Simmons. And with us is Don.
Hey everybody, twice in 1 month. It's like, wow.
It's crazy, right?
Easy.
And you're making our viewers' dreams come true. Rob the Supreme is pretty excited that you're here, Don.
Hey Rob, what's up, man?
And of course, as I said earlier, we've got Lucas with us.
Hey.
And last but not least, we have Paul with us.
Hi.
So, let's kick it off. I have a slideshow going on the stream as well today. Y'all can't see it, but it's there.
Nice.
Kind of rearrange some stuff.
Vacation slides. Oh god.
Did you include any of my adjustments to the RC toy?
No, I did not. There's no reason to put photos so people can imagine stuff. But that is where we're going to start off tonight.
No, they can't.
We're going to start off with that tonight just because that's, I think, the biggest drama to come out of it. So, let's hit the ground running here. Masterpiece RC was announced. I think it's MP51, I think. And boy, people have opinions, and I don't disagree with them. The biggest thing is that she has grandma boobs, if people have been calling it. Her chest is sitting low. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, but her chest is definitely sitting low. What do people think about it?
Well, since my handle is HMRC for EVR, I think I'm going to start this one off because I have a little bit of a stake in this, if it's okay. I think XV on RFC brought it up, and if it's not wasn't him, I apologize for getting the name wrong. If it wasn't him, but there is that hinge in the middle, in the middle of the collarbone, and I believe there's going to be some way that you'll be able to adjust that whole area, because
there are.
There's such a record of mistransformations. Look at Ironhide. Look how bad Ironhide looked in the official photos that Takara gave when he was first announced versus what the end result was. So I think what we're looking at is just, again, basic mistransformation, bad camera photography, bad angles, the things in a glass case. I'm just saying, again, once we get it in hand, then we can make sure everything's okay. I just think there's enough fiddle room to make sure that's not going to be a problem. But also, playing devil's advocate, maybe if they're planning. Again, I do want the Headmaster feature. I believe that RC does not come with enough natural accessories that to get the price point built. I believe what they do is they add accessories to justify the price point. I mean, look at Hound. Hound comes with a whole lot of stuff, which includes the canopy he used in one episode of Atlantis Arise, if I'm not mistaken. And they included that as an accessory, as a shield. So I'm thinking that what's she going to come with? 1 or 2 pistols, her red visor if it's not built in, the key to the plasma energy chamber, maybe some swords. That's not G1 accurate, but it's been kind of a thing for RC since animated. So maybe if you wanted to do that. But there's really not a lot of RC-specific accessories that would make sense for that character. So having Daniel as a headmaster would help fill out that price point. and maybe we're looking at the chest area, that whole area is adjustable based on which head you use, the normal movie head, or if there is a headmaster feature, you can adjust the parts to make it look more natural if it's included.
So I'm going to back up there a bit before I go back into potential accessories. I've got some pictures up there showing on the stream now. There are some good.
Looks cool, by the way.
Yeah, like I'm having to move them around a lot. You work with what you got. Try not to cover everybody up, but some of these aren't cropped.
Keeps covering up my face.
I know, I'm trying. So if you look at the one I have up there now, it's a good close view of her chest and neck area. That hinge doesn't do what we wanted it to do, because I was hoping that it too. And you'll notice the white part goes right into the pink. It doesn't fold there. And the way, that's a solid piece, that hinge onto where it goes into the chest. So
you're saying it's all one piece?
Yes. So there's nowhere for it to like fold up, because that's what I was thinking it would do too, because that would make sense. Because surely they wouldn't make it look like this, right? Like I don't know how they could drop the ball that much on something, right on the front of the toy. Like we've been seeing them kind of skimp on the backpack, and she has a pretty terrible backpack as well. But I'm not as hung up on that stuff. But I think this is a pretty big miss on this part of the aesthetic. And there's a good side shot here too that I'll put up.
Is there one from above? Because you're saying that white piece is paint. I mean, it's clearly a pink piece painted.
Yeah.
But you're saying it is okay. There, I see it there.
Yeah. I don't know how much lag you have on what you see there, but like.
Yeah, I know.
Like here, I'll just fill the screen with it right here. Like get a good big shot. And these are from TFW, so if you go to TFW, you can see, you can find a post where they have like extra stuff. It's not two pieces, and when I saw that was a real bummer. And here from the side, it also looks like it's made to snap in where it is, which doesn't make sense. Like the lines match up, but I don't think that's that important. But the bottom of the chest goes below, like where her rib cage comes. You would think it would line up with that there, at which point would fix the aesthetics. But it doesn't. Looking at the side, there's a sharp line and then it cuts, and that chest fits into right where it is, as well as that slanted on the side, like kind of at the top of her chest, and it lines up with her armpit where it's slanted. I don't think it's mistransformed. I really want it to be, because I mean, as most regular viewers of the show know, I'm a big MP person, so.
The thing I don't like are those pins in like the shoulder blade area. I just assumed that. Yeah, it looks like this. Yeah. It's meant to be covered up.
Yeah.
And when I Photoshop it, I just move that piece up there. I'm like, oh yeah, that looks great. Yeah. Like it moves up exactly where it should be. But now that you're saying that's one piece, like it just flips. Like that's just a hinge that it's flipping on, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's not like attached at a pin beneath it that slides
and
up.
A hinge. You could do something like that and snap it in. That's what I thought was going to happen. But I think it's just going to be bloop, and that's how it's going to transform. Is that the whole part's just going to flip up? Is my guess.
So here's the question for me is that, okay, like this figure right here, which is the Generations Thrilling 30 RC,
and
right?
We're about to get a new one,
like,
Earthrise.
Right, we're going to get a new one, right? But so this one right here, I mean, obviously is not looked as nice as that. But it's not that far off. Like, I'm sure this new one is going to have a ton more articulation, and it's going to be more fun with that. But, maybe. Like, I don't... In diecast and whatever, but I don't understand, like... I mean, like, the backpack on... it has a huge backpack.
I got a picture of that.
And honestly, to me, I think... The only thing that I really don't like about that is the fact that the chest is so low. Like, if that did move up, I do actually think that this might be the perfect RC, just because, we've had multiple third parties come out. I know, Fans Toys, Rouge, and then we also have the MMC Azalea,
which is a really fun one.
And that one is really fun, and that's my personal favorite out of the RCs. So
even Fans Toys Rouge here has problems, like there's the big side gap it has there. It even has a front gap going on here. I don't know, maybe I have something mistransformed. I haven't messed with it for a while. The backpack cleans up amazingly for the RC design. But
there's a lot on those. There's a lot on those shoulder pylons.
Oh, I know. I've transformed.
Pretty much. There's a lot of.
It's all.
There's a lot of car in there.
But this toy sucks. It's miserable. It is not fun. But it looks amazing and it has good heft to it.
Right.
So I think Takara can do better than what we see there, and I hope they remold it and fix it, because that's unacceptable for such a main aesthetic piece to be that wonky looking.
Well, one thing I've always said through the years, ever since I've been on here and on RFC, is that all these things are works in progress to a degree. And it's like seeing a trailer and judging the entire movie from the trailer, which we've all seen people do when a trailer comes out and they judge, oh, that's going to be the worst movie ever because you're seeing a 30-second trailer. I don't think we can judge that figure. And I'm not speaking just as a fan of RC. I'm speaking as just a fan of basically common sense. Let's see what it looks like. Let's see some later pictures, because even the Ironhide did get a little better with the pictures, but we really didn't get a good feel for the figure until it was released.
But it still had those hip skirts.
Yeah, it did, but it did wind up being better than the initial pictures made it look. Yeah, so I mean and this is, people will be saying, aren't you more excited? I'm very excited, and I will probably be getting this figure, as soon as it goes up for pre-order, probably Amazon Japan or something, save a little bit of money. But
it's up for pre-order.
I'm not. There's no reason me getting all hyper about it's coming. I knew it would be coming eventually, because I had guessed on RFC that RC was going to be 50. That was one of my predictions for this year.
That's a crazy guess.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, if it's going to be 50 and they've already done Prime and they just did Megatron, unless it was a new Seeker mold, to me that made the most sense for the number 50.
It's very clear they don't give a fuck about the numbers anymore. They used to make a big deal about it, but then they're like, 44.
Yeah.
They don't
care anymore.
The numbers don't matter. They just like randomly throw characters into numbers. They used to give them special number designations. They just said forget it. So
yeah. So now I will say one thing. It is possible, and this was brought up on Twitter again. I would credit the person if I could remember who mentioned it, that the Plus version of RC is going to be a Headmaster version. And the more I thought about that, I'm thinking maybe that the piece that we're looking at now that you're talking about, Lucas, and all y'all are talking about that piece not being right, maybe that section is made like that so it can be pulled from the mold and then another piece or another part of the mold done if they make RC as a Headmaster for the Plus version. That area can be slightly adjusted to make room for the larger head and still be proportionate. I don't know. It's possible.
Do we have any estimated release date on this? Paul, did you notice that, or did anybody catch that? I think that will tell.
I think it's this year. I think it's end of year,
okay.
When.
So I mean, it's not
November, December.
It wasn't one of those where it's we're dropping it and it's coming out in 3 months. So there is a chance they could make further designs, but I've lost count of the amount of times people said, "Oh, you know what? It's just a prototype. They're not done with it yet, and what you get's exactly the same." I want that to be the case. Don't get me wrong, because this is my favorite line. So I hope they go back and fix it. It looks a little more final than I would like, as opposed to Tigertron, who we'll talk about in a minute, who is obviously has a lot of hand paint going on.
Well, can we talk about some of the good things of this toy, because there's plenty.
So we'll move on from the chest is bad and the backpack's bad. Hopefully, at least the chest gets some improvements, but the car mode is awesome.
Yeah, the car mode
so good.
Yeah,
sorry, it's going to go over some faces here for a minute. We've had goodbye, Paul. Goodbye, Don. We had who was it? Toy Worlds. They did their Masterpiece RC that had pretty much no car mode. It was so bad.
Oh god.
Oh god.
Is that the one with the legs?
Yes.
Where they didn't even have. I mean, Wajang had to redo it and actually give it a shell for the back. I believe.
Yeah, that's what
that became like a shield or something. It was something weird that they did a KO upscale or whatever the case was. It was just such a horror. I mean, it's
so bad.
Toy World. I mean, how can you release it in this shape?
And then Fans Toys Rouge, has obviously a much better car mode. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. And then Takara has really knocked it out of the park. This is by far, I think, the best RC car mode we've ever seen.
Right.
It even has the gray doors.
And I think, yeah,
Yeah,
and
the gray is cool. Where's all that gray come from?
well, I'm guessing there's probably, either panels that flip or unfold. I'm guessing there's probably two-tone paint on a door or something that you would rotate, or how in some Transformers you'll fold the window in to hide the window behind the door, like on the Dodson Brothers or something. I'm thinking that's what you're going to do is you're going to have small panels that either rotate around and go from pink to gray or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and like looking at the pictures a little closely, like we have, she's got seats, and she even has molded and painted details on the dash. I can't tell if there's a steering wheel though, but I suspect there is. But it's just hard to tell because of the glare.
Yeah.
But and there's.
I think the biggest thing that's exciting for me is the fact that they're actually getting back to the movie designs, the '86 movie, because that's something that, like, what was it? We had Hot Rod was the last one, right? And so they've kind of just done
first, and that's the only two they've done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I think that's the thing that's kind of exciting for me is that, are they actually going to start focusing on the movie? Are we going to see a Galvatron? Are we going to see, whatever, Springer, just something like that?
I bet you can thank the Unicron toy for this push to do these guys.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, that's something I hadn't considered. Yeah,
like movie celebration.
But there's so many people that G1 stops at the movie. G1 stops right before it's only the first two seasons are. I've met a lot of people through the years.
Really?
Where to them it's like, it's where G1 just stops when the movie begins. The movie's not G1 anymore for to some people that I've talked to, which I never could quite get my head around.
No, I haven't heard that. Now I've heard people that the movie is where it ends, including like the main cast of the movie. And anything past that they don't really care about, like Target Masters and Headmasters and all that. They're kind of like whatever. That it's just you start that's when Transformers kind of dying off, and they kind of just lose interest and knowledge about at that point. But I mean, we talked back when they were trying to finish, or when they've been working on the main like G1 cars, and they're like, oh, we have to get licenses for them, even if they don't make it look like that. They make it look the cartoon. We're like, why aren't they focusing on the movie? You don't need licenses for any of that crap. Go to town.
Well, also, like you said, it's possible they wanted to wait and see if the Unicron did get funded, that they wouldn't want to sink a bunch of money in some molds that would kind of be one-off on somebody's shelf. So again, there may be something along those lines.
What if the Seeker mold? The rumors we heard before was the Seeker and like Galvatron. I don't know. There's been rumors for years.
Everything has been rumored.
If they are doing. Yeah. So if they are doing like a movie push and they do a new Starscream, maybe they'll do a sleep mode Starscream where he's like, he's dying.
Well, I'm just wondering if they, with the Earthrise Starscream being basically your classic Starscream, just tweaked after how many years of toy engineering advancement, they could potentially turn that Earthrise transformation into the new Seeker Masterpiece transformation.
Please no.
I know. I'm just saying if they found what works, and they can repaint the heck out of it, because they're going to. Plus, we should be getting cone heads from that mold in some fashion. So, if it works and people like the transformation and it's proven to be done well, if they go with that to the masterpiece level, how much money would that save them, and how much profit would it make them? Because your basic engineering skeleton is done, like we're going to talk about with Tigertron.
Yeah, but there would be like so many steps backwards. Why would you? It's not a masterpiece ready mold. It's it works for mainline.
I'm saying the transformation skeleton, the basic layout of the figure is to get the Seeker mold.
It's not good enough.
Okay, well,
for me.
Oh yeah, I understand.
It's just shell that expands. It needs to. Yeah. It's not masterpiece quality.
Yeah. Well,
All right, so do we have any last minute thoughts on RC here? we got a good bit of other stuff to talk about too.
What repaints do we think we're gonna see from RC?
Maybe the black version.
Paradron Medic. They would do, if MP50 Plus is not the Headmaster version, then you can have the Paradron Medic. You could get maybe, there's never been a Shatterglass RC, but they could do one that's colored more closer to the IDW version, but they haven't really done anything IDW in Masterpiece. So
do you think they do a prototype
I'm not
colors
sure.
like MMC's doing?
There are some people that would probably, it's like Daniel would probably buy that for sure, just to have that in those colors on a shelf. But I think right now, unless they turn it into Nightbird like they did with the Unite, so they could make a Nightbird out of it like they've done in the past, and they got, of course, Paradron Medic as well. She can come with the bomb, and you can give the bomb to Ultra Magnus, or whatever the case may be. Instead of the key to Vector Sigma, she comes with the bomb.
Yeah, I got one. I think they could do all the Fembots,
so that,
like the 5, the group of 5 or whatever Fembots with some different heads. I don't think they will. I think that's too obscure for MP repaints.
How about Hate Plague?
I don't even remember.
Well, that would definitely be a solid color figure. Definitely one of Takara's things, gold, black, or in this case red, because they've done red primal before.
I've been waiting for the Hate Plague entire line, like the Golden Lagoon stuff.
Oh, please don't give them any ideas of the Hate Plague. Be like, well, saving money on that, saving money on that, saving money on that. I don't want.
You should suggest that to him at Toy Fair, Paul.
Who, Takara Tomy? They're not going
to. I guess they won't be at Toy Fair.
I got some thoughts on this. I mean, I'm wondering before we move on. Like, the backpack doesn't really bother me. I'm just used to backpack toys. It is pretty massive though. I was just like, I cannot.
But this toy again, it sucks. So.
Yeah, I don't want a toy that is that annoying. I mean, when I looked at the straight on photo that Hobby Dengeki posted, where she's standing there like that, I was like, oh my god, that looks like a very well proportioned female body, and it transforms into the car, and the car looks amazing. Like, I'm very impressed. I mean, we'll have to see how it really turns out. I hate that the chest is probably like that. That really is annoying to me, because I was positive that it was a mistake, but just mostly because like her midriff doesn't exist.
Yeah, that thing,
like the white part is supposed to be a gap there. I mean, maybe the whole thing moves up, but that would change the proportions again. Yeah. Whatever. Just the hourglass figure is pretty good, pretty incredible, and the car looks awesome. And speaking of accessories, most people forget that in the promo photo it has the tire, the Junkion like tire killer thing. So that's kind of cool.
I didn't actually see that.
Yeah.
The problem with your Headmaster version, Don, is that you can see Daniel right behind her, and he's like way too big to be that head.
But what I'm saying is that there may be two versions. There may be a Daniel for the driver's seat in car mode, and there may be a Daniel that's the actual head. That's the smaller figure.
Someone in chat.
Yeah,
but it makes sense having a Daniel for the driver's seat.
I'm just saying the scale's all out of whack, like usual.
I mean, yeah.
We
saw that with Hound too. That came with a spike that's huge compared to the spikes we already got.
Well, I wonder which one of those, like the MP44 figure or the Hound figure, fits in that cockpit of RC. I wonder. I guess we'll find out.
Somebody in chat pointed out too that given that the Masterpiece figures are Takara Tomy led, that Daniel's not a headmaster in Japanese canon. But we got that out of that one universe or Generation Select or whatever it was release, where they made Daniel a headmaster. So it's not like they don't know that it's a thing that exists.
Exactly, because we got Target Master Hot Rod as that reissue for the Hot Rod mold, and he wasn't a Target Master. They didn't even get him in Japan as a Target Master.
Really?
So I mean, they're aware of the rebirth and the character changes. Besides, if they're going to be charging this for RC, they got to add stuff to make the price justified.
I look forward to the full reveal of here's all of her extra crap that she comes with. One thing that I don't like that we haven't brought up yet is that you can see her wheels hiding out from under her crotch, And to be blunt, they look like testicles. Like she's packing a pair of testicles when you look at her from the front.
What?
Yeah, man. How can you not see that? Like
that thing that like white bit?
Yeah,
that's her wheel.
That's her wheel. So there's another one on the other side too. If you again look at some detailed pictures people have taken.
All right, I don't need to comment on that.
It's just like,
Yeah.
it's like I'm gonna have to pose
let's
her
move on to
hiding.
the other reveal.
Yeah. So
Yeah. What else did they reveal there, Rob?
right.
Or are we gonna briefly talk about the other Optimus Prime? Yet another MP10 repaint.
I figured we do that later.
Yo, Lucas, save the best for last.
Okay. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. So the other big MP reveal was, of course, Masterpiece Tigertron, and he looks awesome. I think.
Mm-hmm.
It helps that I got Cheater here right now. He's in cat mode and he's doing his thing. It's why I have him all posed in animal mode at the moment. I took a close look at this. The feet look to be new, like new molds. Obviously the head chest area is new, or his lion head chest area. Even though I think the real head is new too because he's got like a wider nose and stuff than Cheater did. But the rest of it looks exactly the same from what I can tell. And I think the question is kind of, and ultimately I don't think it matters, but did they redo the engineering and make new molds? Well, I mean, I'm sure they made new molds, or did they just upscale what they had? I think they upscaled
it looks to me like it's a lot bulkier
Yeah.
than the Cheetor one. Like he's like buff.
Yeah,
Like
well,
his thighs are fatter and everything.
They look the
Am
same
I
to
right
me.
or wrong?
Well, I'm
larger.
thinking what we're looking at. Yeah, I think what we're looking at is another case of basically your G2 smokescreen figure and your Energon Starscream. They're using the same transformation skeleton, but they're adding on around it, which probably saved them, which is probably why Tigertron's coming out first, is because a lot of the way to get the figure from one mode to the other is already done. With Cheetor, they just had to, like y'all said, you had to bulk him up. So that means he would be out sooner. And since the costs for that mold, or at least there's probably some part sharing. And they've already done Shadow Panther. They've done Cheetor. So they've already gotten 2 uses from most of the mold, and whatever shared engineering will be going into Tigertron. So it'll be easier for them to get Tigertron out versus a whole new mold like RC.
Yeah.
So,
I think they saved the money on the R&D because, like you said, it shares. They didn't have to solve a new puzzle.
Exactly.
They already had it, but they had to make a new mold. It's a totally
Right.
different toy.
I don't think they made him bulkier. I think they literally upscaled it, and that's why he's taller. So of course he's a little wider because you take an image and you keep proportions the same. When you get taller, you get wider. Like I was checking out details with Cheetor, and then you can see it in some of the pictures too. Like the details on his leg panel here, like they're exactly the same on Tigertron. Like even at the bottom where it has like the little divot, that's on here as well.
Right.
And like his kneecap has the exact same indentations on it. Like other than the foot, here's Cheetor's robot foot, which looks like that. You can see Tigertron's is more like a hoof, kind of clamps down. So that's obviously a new part. And then again, both heads are obviously new parts. Maybe something in his hand there. It looks like he's got a new gun or something maybe. But it looks so much exactly the same with all the same detailing and everything that my guess is they upscaled the existing design and then remolded a few parts. And for what's like, I think that's perfect. That's what Tigertron is. No complaints.
And also, it's been my running theory for the longest time is that the repaints and the pluses pay for molds that don't have as many reuses like RC. There's not that many recolors. I mean, we've guessed at a couple, but compared to, say, the Dotson brothers, there's not that many you could do with RC. But with the Cheetor, the Shadow Panther, the Tigertron, they're getting more use out of that same basic puzzle, like you said, Paul. So the money they've already saved by getting 2 uses out of the mold and the redeem on Tigertron will make them more money to pay for a newer mold like RC. That's the way I've always seen it in my head. But again, what would Tigertron come with? I'm thinking for that price, there's probably going to be a PVC stalker in that box.
PVC what?
Or the female tiger that he inadvertently killed in that early episode right after he was created on Earth. I'm thinking maybe there'll be like a non-transforming plastic female snow leopard, snow tiger. So that way you've got him and you've got his girlfriend basically on the shelf. That's kind of out there, I know, but I'm just thinking I can't think of how many things he could come with.
I mean, a few different heads, a few different faces, that type of stuff. But that's kind of standard.
Yeah, but I mean, what else was he? I don't remember. Stuff he was really known for. I'm trying to remember from off the top of my head what he might have used in the show to give him more of an accessory and parts count. Because either that or that price of what was it? 26,000. Was it 26,000 yen? About $230 US.
I think it's 24,000. I think is what the price on it. Yeah. So right. I don't know. So, I mean, that's the tough thing for me for these MPB stores is if everything was just a little bit cheaper, like the first couple figures they released, the Optimus Primal and all that,
yeah,
and the Cheetor, like those were pretty inexpensive. And then I know those were a lot smaller, but the newer ones, man, like they look absolutely amazing. But man, if they were just like a little bit, like maybe $50 cheaper, I think I would be in on them. But
well, Tigertron is going to be a must get for me, just like RC, because Tigertron is one of my favorite. He's one of my favorite characters from Beast Wars, and that I passed on Dinobot, I passed on Megatron, I've currently passed on Black Arachnia, but I've just saw on Amazon Japan she was down to $97 US on Amazon Japan, so that's in the back of my head now. So, but I mean, I've saved a lot by not getting the Megatron or the Dinobot, so I definitely want to get Tigertron just because I just love the character.
Yeah, I understand, people's complaints about the price, but one thing I've dabbled into a few other things, like non-transforming action figures, when you get them from Japan, are like Storm collectible stuff, that's $70 to $100 each. And they don't transform at all. There's engineering there, and there are definitely, it's not like there's 3 parts that they plug together. They got a lot more going on than that. But if I use that as a baseline, I think a transformer is going to be at least 2 to 3 times the engineering, if not more, plus quite a bit more parts. All of a sudden, $200, $250 doesn't seem that out of line compared to normal action figures. It's still really freaking expensive, though. Amazon Japan's going to save you about 30% off that price, though. So you should be using that if you can. Yeah. But it's I think the market audience for a lot of this stuff these days is small. I don't think a lot of people are going to buy a Tigertron. Honestly, I don't think a lot of people are going to buy an RC compared to the Optimus Prime, which was even more expensive, though. But I think they're trying to keep the line going as they're getting into more, not Megatrons and Optimuses. They got to keep it going, and I think to make this sell, I just think the price has to be a little more for that.
Yeah, I mean that could be, and I don't know. I mean, it may be something to do with molds and all that too. The fact that it's bigger, just because I think that the Black Arachnia, I thought the price was fair and it came with a lot of accessories. So it may just be the fact that it's you're going to have twice as many molds for that larger figure that it necessitates. If you average out how much big of a run you have to do and all that type of thing.
Yeah. I think it's all of it together. I think it's complex engineering, a small audience. They have a lot of paint these days, and just the amount of parts and everything. You compare that to $70 to $100 for just a Mortal Kombat action figure.
Yeah, true.
Well, something also to consider is, and I'm going to reference, our friend Bobby Skullface. He had a review, at one of his sit-down Saturdays about 2 weeks ago about what are you willing to sacrifice in your figures, articulation versus paint versus cost, things like that, which was really interesting because you have to look at in your collection what is the most important. Is it the articulation? Is it the design? Is it the paint? Whatever the case may be. And we've gotten into your Transformers are costing the same price as a Hot Toys figure. That Tigertron's base retail not disregarding Amazon Japan discounts, their base retail that they talked about is the same price as. Sorry, I'm trying to read something and I can't. Is this right here? And I showed this off last week. The Hot Toys Scarlet Spider that I got. It's basically you're looking at the same price. So you have to figure out which is more important, the presence on the shelf versus the ability to transform. But we are reaching these hot toy level prices, and I don't know if the QC that we're seeing, like with Hound, is really worth the price. It's because if the quality was there with the price, I'd see it. But look how much breakage you've been seeing on Hound.
Well, the one thing I will say,
break. I've heard of like a few really loud people.
Yeah,
there's been a fair amount. It's all been the same piece, like on Hound that's broken.
Was it the doors?
Like that.
The door area.
Yeah.
Mine's fine, but that's all anecdotal.
Well, Hot Toys don't have to worry about hinges and pins and all that crap.
Right.
They're just they just stand there.
Yeah.
Look pretty.
What I would say though about the MP Beast Wars is I think I've handled all of them at this point, and they've hit home runs with every single one of them, in my opinion. I think every single Beast Wars one, like, that is the best line. Like, the paint is incredible. Like, the animation is spot on. Like, most of the transformations aren't bad. So I think that honestly, like, and again, like, we don't know, is like, there's been for G1, there's been 1,000 different molds now at this point. Whereas Beast Wars, there's a lot fewer. But I think they've done like, the only thing, the fact, and honestly, if I was a Beast Wars guy, like, if I was nostalgic, if I was like Dakota or somebody else that grew up on Beast Wars, I would be all in for the line. The only reason I don't is just because I don't have nostalgia for it. But I think they've done a fantastic.
I mean, they are every bit the Hot Toys of Beast Wars toys. And we lost Lucas. I don't think he knows we've lost him.
There he is. Yeah, he's caught in a funny face. Yeah, if there's so much, like, I think what he was trying to say is there's so much less product out there for Beast Wars to compare to that these really stand out.
Right.
And I'd agree with you. They're Hot Toys. They're the pinnacle of Beast Wars.
Yeah. And the one thing you
what happened
you're back.
Okay, where did I cut off?
You mid-sentence.
Um,
we lost Paul now. Everybody's just bailing.
No, I'm still here.
Okay.
Just don't worry. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Where was I? Like, the one thing I'll say is the Wars, like, the actual reveals are, like, actually exciting, because I feel like that, some of these G1 characters, like, this is now the second version or the third version or whatever of some of these molds, and so it's like you kind of end up like that RC. Like, if there was no other RCs, like, I would think that was amazing. But, like, I can sit there and nitpick because there's,
we have toys.
all these different ones. But, like, Tigatron, like, the last version of Tigatron was from, whatever, however many, 30 years ago, 20 years, whatever it was. Yeah. So that's the thing is like, I think when these drop, like, I think it's actually a lot more exciting because I don't have 5 different versions I can pick from.
Okay, I don't want to open that can of worms, but there's not supposed to be any other options for RC. There's not supposed to be.
There's no other RC. This is Rouge.
No,
yeah.
I mean that is true, Paul. But the fact that there is, and
yeah, but you're talking about being excited of a Tigatron that just hasn't been knocked off or bullshitted into other types of toys from Asia, just shows you why there shouldn't be. Because if there were other Tigatrons, you'd be like, I don't know about this one. This one has bad paint. It's actually just the same thing as the last one. It's just Cheetor, but bigger.
These aren't essential for life, so I think competition is good for it. I mean, and for what it's worth, I'm still buying this Masterpiece RC, and I'm still excited about it.
Right. Well, there's also one other thing to consider is that they've, as you said, Paul, they've done some of these the Optimuses, the Megatrons, the the Seeker mold. They're getting to the point where all they have, they still have very popular characters left to do. Jazz, Trailbreaker,
Mirage,
and so forth. Mirage. But they're also going to be getting into some limited repaint abilities. Trailbreaker gives us Hoist. Jazz gives us, a couple other looks as well. Mirage, you could do a G2 Mirage to go with the sideswipe Diaclone. So, but you're still looking at, okay, we get those skids, because sooner or later, they're going to have to do some of these more obscure molds eventually, because they have to keep something new in the pop. They just can't. They've redone your Megatrons, your Optimus, your Starscream. They've done all that, but they know that their customers want these other characters to fill in these gaps, and they're not going to have a lot of repaints, so the price is going to be higher because they know down the road they're not going to get. I mean, skids, you could do a Diaclone skids. You could do, God help us, the movie skids if you really hated your fans. But again, you don't have the repaint potential that you do on, say, the Dotson brothers.
Yeah.
So these are going to be a little bit higher because they know they're not getting future uses out of it, or as many as they want.
Yeah. All right. So, anybody have any final thoughts for Tigertron? Or are we ready to move on to the next reveal? Yeah. All right. So the last new MP thing we got is, for some dumb reason, another one of these dumb G1 Optimus Primes, or not G1, but MP10 Optimus Primes with a shoe. So
well, now
holding up the LeBron shoe.
Well, now
I think this is my topic.
It is definitely. You're the only one here, I think, that is interested in this.
So I said I wrote a blog about this, just because the people that want this don't know how to get it, because it's hard to get, and we don't know where it's coming yet. So before this got revealed, well, okay, let me back up a bit. So when last Wonderfest, they revealed 3 of these weird looking MP10s. Do you guys remember that? That was a year ago.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And one of them was this one.
LeBron.
This is the duck camo.
Oh,
no.
It was this one.
No.
Sorry. Okay.
We're going on timeline here. So yeah, duck camo, Viotech, and Elephant, which are types of shoes that this Atmos company does with other big shoe brands. Atmos is like a Japanese designer brand that does Nikes and Adidas and all these. At least I think. I might be wrong. It might be only Nikes. I'm not sure. But they do special sneakerhead shoe decos, and they sell for crazy amounts. They're really hard to find. Very similar to the Bape releases. So those got shown at Wonderfest, and there was no English translation of what was going on. No one really knew what if they were coming out or whatnot, because that's how we're looking at this stuff from the window of the internet versus the people at the show that don't really know what to ask or how to ask and what's important. So we didn't really know what those were, and then a few days later, this came out, which was not shown at Wonderfest. Less than a month. This is LeBron Voy.
So just dropped with no warning.
Pretty much. See, it has it's called MP10 ASL, which stands for Atomic or Atmos Safari LeBron version. So there was a shoe that's tied to licensed by LeBron James, and it was this crazy yellow and cheetah print gray and whatever. The shoe came out, and it was a reissue of the old version of the shoe. It's almost like MP1 came out for the shoe, and then this was MP10, the second version, 10 years later. And so they decided, for some reason, to release an actual MP10 with it. So here's how it turned out. And so this was not shown at the show, so everyone's like, holy shit, there's more, oh my god. And then there's this thing, Atmos has a convention of their own for sneakerheads called AtmosCon. And at that, they had all the Optimus Primes on display with the shoes that they had at Wonderfest 2019, as well as 2 new ones. So there's total of 5 or 6 of these crazy Atmos collaboration
toys. That's the only one that's come out?
Only one that's come out is LeBron Voy. And now at Wonderfest this year, they showed duck camo again.
It's definitely an interesting design.
And Atmos Con is coming up in March. So my assumption is that this toy and the shoe, maybe the shoe's already been released, so I don't really know what's going on. But the toy will probably be for sale at the convention, which is in Japan. And that's March 8th and 9th or 7th and 8th, whatever, something like that. So if that's the case, then probably the only place you can get it is at that convention or maybe Atmos stores, which there's not very many of them. And it's a lottery. Like to get this, you had to be standing in line outside of the store at a certain day, and you maybe got the chance to buy one and the shoes. And guess what? This is still worth the same amount. You could buy it at the store, but the shoes are worth $1,000.
Wow. So you should have bought the shoes if you could.
Yeah. Well, if you don't care about Transformers.
But
so that's the history, and here we are with Duck Camo, and it is slightly different than the one we saw previously. This is the production version. The gun is no longer brown; it is now orange. So just
safety orange.
So there's a prototype out there that's brown. So good luck.
I do like the orange tires on it, and I like the mismatched color design, just because we don't see that much. You know, like I'm not going to get it, but I think it's neat. But good luck to those who are trying to hunt it down.
Yeah,
I really like the asymmetry on that. It's really cool.
I just think it's crazy that they have all these nuts versions of MP10, like the bait versions too, where, I mean, I don't know what the price is on that now, if they've went up or down compared to when they originally came out, but they went up, yeah. So, like, I don't know, if you want to actually finish that collection, you're looking at a pretty good, significant sum of money.
Yeah.
And I know, Don, I think you said you got the 7-Eleven Prime as well, that was another one.
Yeah. Now here's two things. One, I have seen a KO of the LeBron version. I was watching it there for a while. Didn't
pick one up, but though.
Yeah, but I mean, if you like the colors or you just want it to be on the shelf, that's an option. But here's also something. What if next year or a year after, if they keep doing this with BAPE or this Atmos stuff, are they going to move to MP44? Are they going to be using that prime with their shoes?
I bet that's
so
too
imagine
expensive
trying
to
to get.
shoes.
I wondered the same thing. I think the deal's already been made though, like the collaboration deal, and they're probably stuck with what they got.
Right, but I'm just saying there are people out there. I mean, where I work, I have two guys that are shoe collectors. They collect shoes. They put them in a sealed box, and they don't wear them. They just put them in their display case in these
same as we do
boxes.
Yep.
Yeah,
huge.
but I'm saying they're shoes. So there are people that would want the MP10 in these colors, and I'm just thinking, if this is hard, MP44. So just imagine what it'd be like trying to get those with MP44 mold.
That's a nightmare. I'm not willing to imagine, but I do. What's funny is sneakerheads do not understand the toy. They're like, why? Who wants that? I don't want that. Well, what's that? They don't get it. They just want the goddamn shoe. So it's like, how do we connect these dots? Please, people, like, let's make it work.
I think it's an odd partnership just because they're completely disparate communities. You know, there's no overlap.
Well, they're both collectors. There's a collector thread there.
I guess.
You know?
But it reminds me of a couple years at Mattel when they had the Darkest Night Hal Jordan. You stood in line to buy a ticket, and then they drew 100 tickets or whatever the case was, and then from the people that was drawn from those 100 tickets, they drew 20 tickets, and then you could buy the figure. So you stood in line to take a chance to buy the figure, and it's like, it's the same kind of thing. You're basically creating your half-circle Boba Fett. To use
this has been hanging around $300 since it came out, so about a year. But I haven't really looked to see if anything changed. But the announcement of Duck Camo, I think, will finally move the price on these, because now people are like, "Oh boy, here they all come! I better get on the train before it's too late."
They come in a box?
Which is what happened with BAPE. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I have I got a box.
They have, their own special box. And
Let me show you.
Paul's been like, you know how like on microcasters,
the box is somewhat.
You talk about stuff. Like, like bots is Christian and garbage is Anna. Well, like talking about the shoe
the
MPs.
box.
This is Paul's. He's like, finally, my chance to talk about shoe MPs.
The box, yeah. The box has like this the cheetah print on it. The safari print is on the box.
Oh,
but other than that, it's just a regular MP box.
okay.
And as you can see, it's MP10 ASL, which my assumption, all the like Hobby Dengeki called it MP10 DC for duck camo, but I think if they keep the naming structure the same, since it's an Atmos thing, it'll be ADC.
Yeah.
So, but who knows? Maybe they'll change their mind.
And here's the sad thing: with that mold of all the versions of Optimus, it still doesn't come with a basketball.
Yeah, that is a bum out. I really wish this came with a basketball. There's some basketball accessory out there that I've seen photos with, and it looks amazing.
Bot. There's a bot basketball,
Yeah,
there was or will be one or the other.
So let me ask you, Paul, because I think you pretty much have most of those MP10s. Like, would you rather them move on to the MP44 mold in the future, or would you want them to continue? 5 years from now, they continue to put out special editions of MP10.
I think they should move on. I think this is like these should be the curtain call for MP10. But it's like I hope they don't keep this going for 5 years. Like that would be just kind of silly.
Yeah.
Like I like MP10. It's a great toy, but it needs its last shot like MP1 did, which was the final mold release. Which it feels like we're not there yet.
I would hate to see what an MP1 would cost with the parts count that thing has nowadays. Because that was
new
my
stuff has more than that.
Well, no, I'm saying because my original theory is that they would bring back MP1 as MP50 with a new animation color scheme. That was one of my original ideas for MP50. Was bringing back MP1, but then
like MP1
the guys were talking that would be so expensive nowadays, as big as that figure is.
But then they would have lied to us about the last shot version, Don. They wouldn't do that.
Okay, Okay, for the Oscars next year, I'm gonna try to act shocked and win an award. No, they wouldn't do that. Okay, thank you for the Oscar.
And the Oscar goes to.
All right, so let's move on to the next thing here. I thought what we'll briefly talk about here, let me find it in my slideshow, is we saw Piranha again. I don't know, is this the first time we've seen him with all his different limbs? Or no, or have we seen that before?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think it might be the first time in color.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw him with all the limbs and stuff, but I think it was a test shot at the time. People were trying to figure out what Terrorcon was becoming what Seacon and stuff like that.
Yeah. So we can see here he's got one of them as a gun. You can kind of make it out. It's kind of hard to tell. I didn't put a lot of pictures in here, and if it wasn't too much to talk about, this toy's about to come out. It's definitely Piranha, and the colors look gorgeous. Assuming that
you can just see how many extra parts come with these toys. That's what pushed them over the price that everyone's upset about.
Yeah, like if you've played with the G1 set at all, they do just have like a gajillion little weapons, and every one of them can be a gun mode, other than Snaptrap. But they all can be a gun mode, and like when they're in gun mode, all their extra little guns, like their mouth will half open up and they plug in to make them more blastery looking, and they can do a bunch of stuff like that. And I'm wondering how much of that will this toy be able to do, and I think it'll be interesting to see. But
ask our viewer Ron Wyan, because he just got a set of them.
Ooh, yeah, not with Pulse. Pulse just got Pulse just got delayed, as I think most people probably know by now. Theirs got delayed, but some of the rest of them are starting to come out.
Yeah, I think that the overseas, I think, have been getting them in, but for whatever reason, the shipment to Hasbro was delayed.
Yeah, and now, of course, coronavirus has gummed up a lot of things, so we'll continue to see how it impacts things. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I like the way Piranha and Seacons look. I'll just be honest. He has never been one of my favorite combiners, and he's never really been the the must-have, the best version, or must-have the new version of that. I am much more interested in seeing what Raiden looks like when that masterpiece set comes out.
That was definitely lacking at this show.
All right, so I was going to bring that up at the end of the show, but we can go ahead and talk about it now. I was like, what did we not see? And where's Raiden? Where's Masterpiece Raiden? Or whatever that's supposed to be. That best we can tell, it's Masterpiece. But
yeah,
well,
they
maybe
they
with
didn't have a tease, just nothing.
Yeah.
Yep, nothing.
Well, I mean, with it being only about 2 months after they even talked about, because it was late November before when they actually showed off what they did have and when they were talking about it. My guess is that they want to focus with PiranhaCon because that's the current big thing right now. Because you don't want to overshadow your current combiner and your big, hard to get figure and your big showcase piece by saying, "Oh, this is what's next." So whatever show is next down the road that Takara Tomy will be at, that's when we'll see more of Raiden once this PiranhaCon window has sort of sailed on.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Do they have another show until June? Like, I feel like they're not like Takara. The next one is
Tokyo Toy Show.
Yeah, Tokyo Toy Show, which would be in June. So,
I mean, that's kind of on to that point, Don, is they had 2 big MP reveals here too as well. Like here they are, they're painted and
yeah. So I mean,
they had a lot.
Yeah, you don't want to overshadow it.
And that gets folks excited for right now, but we know that's not coming out till later on. If they show everything at this one show, then all they would be doing is updating us at any subsequent events. Now they've got something in reserve. It's like, oh, you thought we were done with that? Well, then, boom, here's the next big thing to keep everything hyped and going.
Yeah.
The other thing I think is kind of weird is that they showed off that Armada Optimus Prime last year, and then they didn't show anything this year. And I think somebody asked about it at the show, and they said, "Oh, we're showing it off to gauge interest. Like, we haven't decided what line it's going to be in yet." So it sounds like it's still coming at some point, but like that just seems so weird that it's.
Yeah, they just showed it. They showed it too early. That's all they did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Basically, it's going to be Master Asia. For those of you that like G Gundam, Master Asia was shown from G Gundam, and he for the figure arts, and he wasn't released until about 5 or 6 years later.
Wow.
When it finally came out. So, and again, Micron Legend is not. I mean, a lot of people love Armada Optimus. I'm not one of them. We all know Fire Convoy is the best non-masterpiece Prime, but I can see them trying to figure out: is it going to be an exclusive? Is it going to be a Takara Tomy Mall figure? I can understand them wanting to do that because that's probably the one Micron Legend figure I would think everybody would want if they want something from that line on their shelf.
I think they know exactly what they're going to do with it, and they don't want us to know, so they don't tell you.
Yeah.
That's how business works.
Yeah, I think ultimately what was missing is that there was no Generations reveals at all. Like, we didn't see Scorponok or Skylinks or, like I said, that Armada Optimus Prime.
They won't.
Or,
that's going to come.
We all know why
in
that
a couple
is.
weeks. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, you think they're saying all that for no fair?
Yeah, Hasbro's like.
Takara's not going to show off a Hasbro, the big Hasbro toy for the year, before the US show.
So that gets into their Go ahead.
They did do that the one year with Devastator though, like during the Wonderfest and Toy Fair at the same time, and we're all at Toy Fair looking at Devastator, and we're like, "Hey, look, the Japanese one
has elbows.
And guns.
The Japanese one has elbows, John Warden. What's up with that?"
And guns.
Yeah.
Technically, they showed off Devastator this year too.
They showed off a Devastator.
Yeah, and so that gets to the last big reveal is we finally have a look at, and I'm just going to take over the screen for a bit. These pictures are big. The next 2, or is it the last 2? Yeah, I think the last 2 bots that make Devastator. I can't keep them straight. Skipjack and Overload, I think are their names.
Wrong.
Or what are they?
Overload and Scrapper. Skipjack was revealed by Hasbro the next day, which is a yellow bulldozer.
Is that a repaint of one of them? That's
total
right.
Total redeco.
That's right.
Which is interesting because it gives you some different, like Takara showed it with Rampage, which is the red leg, and it shows how different the aesthetics look totally different. Like with the yellow leg, it's kind of a little more balanced.
Yeah.
From a color perspective, it's not quite as red, but they both look great.
Yeah, so they're both freaking huge, especially Overload. He is massive. Look at him in vehicle mode. You know, the Scrapper is typical kind of Voyager-ish size, but Overload is huge for a bot that we've only gotten in the Legends before, as far as I know.
I did not expect the big the collar part for Devastator to be on his back. That it's going to make it look so much better because I've been sitting here looking at this guy in person. I'm like, there's just something missing here, and now I realize it's the rest of the big,
it's
cylinder.
Attached to Overload. That's what's missing.
Yeah. Well, let me ask y'all guys a question then. Obviously, Paul, you're getting the set. Is any of y'all just don't care about getting this figure? I have no desire at all for this Devastator. And my friend Paladin he brought this up. Do you really want to chase this figure with 6 parts over 3 class sizes for over a year? And it's like, no,
it's almost over, Don. Where you been?
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I have no desire for this figure at all. Absolutely none. Not any individual
but see, this
robots
is where
interest me.
I feel like this is the difference between the older G1ers versus the younger fans that are into the movie. Because we had a microcasters where we talked about Studio Series last week, and like Serge and Christian gushed about Devastator like for an hour, so there's definitely a lot of people out there that are really excited for this figure and really happy for it. I'm not, and I'm with you, Don, but
this is like
if I'm calling
for the movies.
I mean, it's like if I'm calling Fire Convoy the best non-masterpiece Optimus Prime figure, I'm not a G1er. I mean, I've made that clear for many years. G2 is, I'm G2, yeah. G2.
I mean, I'm a G1er, and I just love combining robots, and I love like kind of weird and different looking robots, which the movie aesthetic has. Even though I hate the movies, and there's a lot of base stuff I don't like, but I'm looking forward to having this guy complete. Yeah. I've reworked my shelves, and I think I got enough room for him.
I'm glad everybody that wants him. I'm glad it's coming together. I'm glad the individual robots seem to be fairly solid on their own and not needing to be part of the whole to be worth the purchase. Maybe it's because I really hated Revenge of the Fallen. Maybe
it's because it was a terrible movie.
Not even Tony Todd could save that, for God's sake.
But that was also one of the best toy lines.
Oh yeah,
that we got.
That which was so weird. I mean, those basics, the basic whatever Scout class at the time. Those are some of the most solid Scout class figures we ever got. I mean, I don't think there was a dud in the entire series. I just was wondering if any of y'all felt the same, because it's just I look at them and it's like it's so weird for me to look at a whole wave of Transformers. It's like I just have no desire to pick them up.
No, I'm looking forward to them, especially because we only ever got Devastator in proper form in the Legend scale before. That's the only one where each of them did the robot, the vehicle, and the combined.
Yeah.
This is a pinnacle moment in Transformers. That they made this thing happen. This is what you wanted
definitely,
when it came out, but they couldn't do it. And the thing that came out was utter garbage.
Yeah.
And I think everyone at Hasbro knew that too. They're like, we made this, unfortunately. Yeah. But there's no way they could have done this back then. It was impossible.
Yeah. Do you think they'll repaint it in green?
Sure.
Do the green.
Check out Microcasters from last week, and there's a lot of discussion there too about what could they repaint this into. That was fun to listen to. If you'll notice with Overload here, so I assume he's a leader. Even though he doesn't actually make it that much taller, he's obviously bulkier, and he has a lot of paint on him as well. If that paint comes through, but these look like production pieces to me. Like they're done.
These dudes are ready to roll. They're the next wave.
I'm excited.
It's kind of amazing to think that this is the biggest, most expensive, most complex combiner that Hasbro Takara has put out.
Until Raiden comes out.
Well, until Raiden.
At U.S. retail, it's the biggest single piece at U.S. retail that I can think. If you look at all the pieces together, it's going to be the most expensive U.S. retail thing in years.
Yep. I mean, I think it's going to be one that, especially for a while, having this guy complete and selling it as a set is going to be more than what you paid for it. And I think it'll stay that way unless they reissue the bots or they do a box set down the line. There's a rumor that there is a box set coming.
I wouldn't count it out. I bet it's going to be San Diego this year because it'll be right around the time they're done. The actual final 2 or 3 come out. Because Rampage is sort of the oddball toy now. It's like, do you need it or not to complete the set? So I'm imagining they're going to have a gift set at San Diego. The question is, will it be just like a repack, or will it be new decos? I would hate if they do this, but they might just make like a Sandy version of it. Because he's in the desert. That would be so boring. But I hope they do like a G1 redeco. That would be super cool.
I have an image up on the screen right now of, if you've seen some of the bigger shots, they had this really cool, I blanked on the word, diorama of the pyramid fight. But they have hand painted all the toys. And they look so good, hand painted. What doesn't? I think that's kind of a cheat to show off your retail toy by hand painting it. But I could see them, like you said, doing a San Diego box set with a higher detail paint like that. Because we've seen that before. Where they use
maybe they'll just chrome it all out.
But how much would that cost in a box set?
Well, retail it's $260. I just did the math. Okay. So it'd probably be a $299 special edition would be my guess.
That's not bad for as huge as that toy's going to be, and 8 figures. That's
yeah. Well, here's a sneak peek if you're not paying attention to this toy. The first one that came out was scrap metal. It's a deluxe, which clearanced at many places for $10 to $12. What do you think it costs now?
Well, isn't it like 40? I think is that what you said?
Yeah. $40 to $50 a pop on Amazon right now, all day, every day.
Well, now I thought Rampage was the first one, the red bulldozer that came with Optimus Prime.
You're right. I mean, there was some early release of like Optimus and Rampage, so yeah, I guess that was the first one.
Okay.
But I mean, the deluxe has outpaced the price on that Voyager. It's weird. I don't get it. And so I assume Hightower's next because that's clearanced out at Walmart right now for $12.97 or something.
Yeah, I think once this guy gets done, people will be like, "Oh, it's all out. Now I got to get it." And that's when it's going to reach a fever pitch. I don't know. I'm looking forward to having the team set together. I'm hoping it can balance in more of a crouched pose, just so I can fit it on the shelf.
I think it definitely can. I think the standing pose is actually a surprise to me. I think it looks awesome. Looks good.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish that's what he looked like in the movie instead of
we wish a lot of things.
A grizzly bear. Yeah. I also think it's really cool that for the first time we're seeing these figures that never were seen in the film. Like you saw Overload pull up as a truck, but that was it. And there's this really cool, like he almost had like a spider walk mode. Like he had all those arms and stuff. We never really got to see that. Scrapper was in the film a few times, but like only slightly, not named. Yeah, and so it's cool to see how he was actually envisioned. So I was really excited to see these guys, and it was kind of a nice, reveal when they finally came out. And Scrap Metal didn't actually, as far as I know, he wasn't really in the film. It was just Hightower that was the other side. But whatever.
If you want to dig deeper into that, just to anybody listening or watching, check out the TF Wiki page for the movie Devastator, and it kind of goes into it. And they cheated so much in the movies, with names and things coming and going and just reusing stuff. Like it was really kind of sloppy, as I think most of us know. And like Devastators had, I think, anywhere from 6 to 9 members or something in the movie. Like things constantly change and colors change as stuff happens, and like it doesn't really make sense. So try not to get too stressed out about it. Try not to worry about it too much.
somewhere along the way, the concept was that Devastator isn't just like one set of bots. Like he can grow or shrink depending on who's around. It was supposed to be kind of a variable combiner, but like that, I think that was like, a concept that got just lost somewhere in Michael Bay's like, movie gasm. So
Yeah.
that was originally how it was supposed to be. That's why there were so many different Constructicons, different colors and who is what and who's where. But I'm hoping that we get at least a payload, which is a yellow long haul, and a demolisher, which would be a white scavenger, who is the one that Optimus and Ironhide kill at the beginning of the film.
Yeah. And we got that toy from the Revenge of the Fallen mold. And I think we got a yellow payload as well, didn't we?
Correct.
Yeah.
We did.
So it's not unprecedented for them to make those color variations. So let's see. Well, that's all I got for the reveals. Was there anything I missed?
Yes.
What I missed?
There were some art house toys available at Wonderfest, and those were like vinyl, like little vinyl, almost non-transform. Not. They're almost like the Super 7 toys, but I don't think they move at all. And there was this company at Wonderfest. Sometimes Takara Tomy gives out licenses to like small-time toy dealers for like the one day of the festival, and so they can like produce these things that get approved, and then they sell them as exclusives in like Artist Alley or something. And so this one company, it's a vinyl toy company. They've like last year they had like these little maybe about 3 to 4 inch tall guys that were like Devastator and Sound Blaster and Soundwave and all the Seekers. I think there was like Sunstorm, Skywarp, Thundercracker, and Starscream. But this year they had an exclusive Seeker, which was the purple Jetron. So in Japan, the Seekers are called Jetrons, like Cassettetrons and stuff like that. But so there was like a booth if you went off the beaten path where you could buy like a special edition one of those Seeker vinyl toys. Other than that, I don't think there was much else.
Cool.
And we don't have any photos, so who cares?
Yeah, definitely no Takara Tomy announcements that I missed. Then I don't think. I tried to do my best to be prepared. Who knows?
Oh, pretty thorough.
I would say that my favorite non-Transformers reveal from Wonderfest was the amazing Yamaguchi cable. I thought that looked really good, so I'm sure the rest of you guys don't care, but
I enjoy the Marvel figures. I probably won't buy
well,
that.
I did. I did buy the Gambit. I did get the Gambit. Haven't opened it yet, but I did get it.
There were some sick Evangelion displays because the new movie's coming out. The final Ava film is coming out in the summer, and so they had some like gray resin, like prototypes of some designs that we've never seen that will probably be featured in the film. So yay!
Dun dun dun. All right, well, cool. We got any parting thoughts about Wonderfest before we wrap this up? All right.
Looking forward to Toy Fair.
Yeah, Toy Fair is what I'm excited about myself.
When's that? The 20th or something?
Yeah, 2 weeks from now. 2 Saturdays from now.
So the end of next week is when that's going to be happening. So I'm sure we'll...
No, the end of the week. It's the 23rd, I think.
It's the Saturday after Valentine's Day.
Yeah. So not next weekend, the weekend after that.
22nd is...
No, wait, you're right.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day is Friday,
yes.
So it's not that Saturday. It's the one half. It's the one.
Yeah, so I said end of next week. So yeah.
Yes.
So we'll probably be talking about that, I assume, on that Monday show after that, most likely. Cool. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. As always, we're part of the TF Talk Network. Check us out at patreon.com/TFYLP if you want to help support our show and help pay for our server costs, especially for podcast hosting. Tomorrow night, Lucas and his crew will be on Microcasters. That's live on Facebook. Do you know what you're going to be talking about yet?
Yeah, we are going to be doing Earthrise Cliff Jumper. So we managed to all find it out in the wild. So that's what we'll be doing.
Cool. And then Wednesday will be Ouch My Wallet. I should have Peter with me. I don't know who the other 2 cast members are going to be yet. Hopefully Peter can still make it. And I'm super excited about it. I have something I'm itching to talk about it, but you'll have to tune in Wednesday to see what that is. I'm going to kick off the show with it because I can do that. That's how that works. But yeah, so check us out on Patreon. You know, live here for Ouch My Wallet on Wednesday, live on Facebook tomorrow night for Microcasters. Chat with us in the Facebook group. You know, links are in the description, all that good crap. And thanks for everybody tuning in. You know, Neuro and Rodimus and Ron, and there was some. I think Jay Zachary was here for a while too. We've had a lot of people checking us out tonight, so thanks for coming in and chatting it up with us. Been a lot of fun, and we will see y'all next time. So, good night, everybody.